And if you think about this, why is this a big deal now? Because you asked that question earlier. Why are we hearing so much about this stuff? I think people are finally realizing, we have a ton of stresses in modern society, but they're not the type of environmental stresses we used to have to deal with in general. So for instance, being super cold, we live in pretty much climate controlled homes. We have cars that are climate controlled. We like that certain temperature, around 70 something degrees,
Right.
not too hot, not too cold. But I think what we're missing is what the human race kind of came up with for most of its existence was kind of extremes and having to deal with those and having the body having to adapt to those type of things. Very much like how we've fallen away from physical exercise as a society. And we're seeing the bad health effects from that. So I think people are finally realizing that, we need some kind of stress and struggle, perhaps, from our environment to really kind of optimize us as humans through hormesis type mechanisms, right? Whether it's exercise, whether it's heat exposure, whether it's cold exposure. So I think people are finally looking at that, and there's something primal about that. It makes you feel, like the most human when you kind of get through a stress like that, and I think we need those type of struggles, both physically and mentally. So using it deliberately in that manner, it does do some things for us. And I want to go through kind of some of the effects it does first, and then we can talk about, some of where the rubber meets the road, like how long, how cold, when, where, and that type of thing. Some of the general effects of cold exposure, and most scientists talk about cold exposure, anything under 15 degrees centigrade, which is 59 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay.
So 59 degrees Fahrenheit and lower, typically it's considered, a cold exposure as far as water goes. Because we could go out in 32 degree air temperature with just shorts on and no shirt and be able to last a whole lot longer than we would be able to go into just above freezing water.
Why is that?
The thermal conductivity of water. So you may have noticed, like if you put heat on, you can put like dry heat, but if you get in a hot tub, you get hotter quicker, right? If you go in a sauna and make it humid, right? Water conducts heat much, much better both ways. So that's why, people, a 212 degree air temperature, super hot, but people could get in a sauna from that. But if you get in 212 degree water, that's boiling. You get severe thermal burns, right? So it's because of how fast it conducts both in and out heat. Okay. And so cold really pulls heat away from the body very quickly if you're in a liquid doing it. And that's why it's a thermodynamic property.
Okay.
So anyway, when I'm talking about cold exposure, I'm talking about